Hello everybody, welcome back to another video by Jay Bowman. Today what I want to do is do a bit of patching from scratch, but it's going to be contextual patching because I've got this sequence that I've come up with, which is what's playing in the background, and I'm going to make a new sound which is going to fit in with what you're hearing. So all the sounds that you hear are being sequenced internally from the EssenceFM using the one-step sequencer. I think I went over this in my previous video. Now what I've done actually is you can't really see it very clearly on the camera because I want to show the screen clearly, and to do that I've had to turn off the lights, but basically turn off the lights in my studio. But what I've done is I've got all 8 outputs of the EssenceFM going into the 8 outputs on my Tascam DP24SD, which is what I use to track sometimes. So the EssenceFM is really good from that perspective. Let me just show you. So I'm at the performance level here. So if I press FX and outputs, so I'm using 5 parts so far, and you can see part 1 is a stereo sound, so I've got it going out of the outs of 1, so that's 1 left and right. Part 2 is a mono sound, so I've got that going out of left 2 or 2 left, output 2 left. Part 3 is a stereo sound as well, so I've got that going out of left and right of stereo of output 3. Part 4 is a mono sound, so I'm using 2 right for that. And then 5 is a mono sound, so I'm using 4 left. So there are 8 individual outputs. You can use that as 4 stereo pairs, or you can use them as mono parts, as 8 mono parts as I've shown, or a mixture of the 2. So I'm using all of those outputs so far. What I want to do is add a sound into the mix. And to do that, I'm going to be, but this sound I'm going to add is going to be what I'm going to play rather than being sequenced. I'm going to play this live. So to that end, I've got my key step, which you can probably just about see in the dark there. Now, another great thing about the EssenceFM is really convenient in a lot of ways for the studio. It's got this USB port on the front, and I've literally just plugged the key step via USB into the front port there, and I can use that to play the EssenceFM. It's very convenient from that perspective. So we've got 8 analog outs out the back and a MIDI keyboard in the front, so it's a real powerhouse. It's really convenient the way that it can do this. So what I want to do is actually, what I tend to do when I'm doing this kind of sequence is I have the parts at this, parts 1 to 4, 1 to 5 being sequenced by the EssenceFM. I'm going to work on part 15, because I might have a 15 and a 16 potentially, to see how we go. So part 15 is what I want to play with the MIDI keyboard. Now you can't see, if I stop the sequence, you can see that by default the key step is triggering part 1. So what I want to do is actually change it so it's triggering part 15. On the key step, that's quite easy. You just hold down Shift and press the relevant key. So now I'm playing 15. Start the sequence again. So now I've got the keyboard playing part 15. I've got 1 spare output, so I want to go back to FX and outputs, go to part 15. The spare output I've got left is 4 right. So if I just change that so it's going to 4 right, that's great. And I can see it on my Tascam that that's recording to the right channel on the Tascam. So great. So I've got 7 audio outs being used by the sequenced parts, including some stereo parts, and now I'm going to have 1 output being used by this part, which I'm going to patch and then play live. So what I do, we're starting at performance level obviously. I go into this init patch and I'm going to, before I do anything else, I'm going to save it as a new part. So even before I name it actually. So what I do is I find the area where I'm saving all these bits. So the sequence I'm doing is from 8th of December, so I'm just going to save it there first. I save it before I even name it, then I name it. It's a little bit convoluted, the saving and the kind of project management aspect of the EssenceFM. That's one area where I think they could possibly improve it. It's difficult because you've got a lot of flexibility and power, and with that comes this kind of having to save and manage performances, parts and voices. But I do think there's some things they could do to make that process a bit better, a bit more straightforward. So I've saved that. At the moment, that part only has one voice, which is the farfisa. Obviously I don't want that, so what I'm going to do is assign instead to, I've got a template voice there, I'll use that. But again, before I do any editing on this, it looks like it's being triggered. It has. So this is an example of what can go wrong. So I've obviously edited that voice and it's being used somewhere, and I didn't save it properly. So I'm going to need to sort that out at some point. So actually I'm going to, instead of assigning it to that template voice, which I'll have to remember to sort out, I'm going to just go to a blank patch, blank voice, sorry, edit, and then I save that. Yeah, just talk amongst yourselves. Save it with the name. Part F. That's my. There we go. You can barely hear that because it's just a plain sine wave. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn down the voice of the other channels on my Tascam. Probably won't affect the recording that you're listening to. Okay, so after all that admin, we're now in the position where we can start to patch from scratch. So what are we going to do? I do like patching in this way rather than just coming up with abstract patches. I mean, sometimes it's fun to do that, but now I want to try and come up with a sound that's going to actually fit in or sound interesting in this context. So a lot of the sounds that you're hearing already, which are being sequenced, are plucky sounds. As in the amp is it's a very kind of short, plucky envelope, which is very easy to make on the EssenceFM. Whereas by default, you start with this kind of organ envelope. I have got that pad sound, which is kind of a drone, which is being brought in and out by the sequence, which you can hear playing at the moment. So I need to get some harmonics in there because at the moment you can barely hear it. So obviously to do that, I just add an operator. So we've now got a 2-operator stack with loads of harmonics because that's full FM going from operator 5, which is the modulator, to operator 1, the carrier. What I want to do is I think I want a kind of square wave sound, so I'm going to change the multiplier of the modulator so it's at a ratio of 2 to 1. And then obviously I'm going to turn down the modulation there. Already we've got quite a nice sound. I do think the 2-operator sounds that you get out of this synth are quite expressive and nice. organ envelope for the carrier with sustain, as you can see, and then we've got this kind of plucky envelope for the modulator. What do we think? Maybe have some vibrato. And tremolo. And I want to change that envelope from being an organ envelope, so I want to take off the sustain. Oh, not like that. That just deleted the segment. So what I want to do instead is just click sustain. And then I need to make the envelope last longer. So now it's got yeah, that's the other thing I'd say, that the envelopes are quite unconventional in the EssenceFM. So it's very intuitive and convenient the way you can move the segments around, but actually knowing how to use the sustain portion, etc. is a bit trickier. So at the moment, segment 1 to 2 is the kind of decay stage, 2 is the sustain, and 3 is the release. So actually I didn't want to delete the sustain portion, that was a mistake. What I want to do is just change the decay portion. Just playing around with the envelopes at the moment. We can change to linear. Now, I quite like that, even though we've gone again to a more plucky sound. Now, by default, all of the operators have velocity sensitivity on full, affecting the amplitude. I think it might be interesting, and this is not something I generally do, is to try and route velocity also to pitch slightly, just so we can have a bit of a pitch envelope the harder we play. So the way I do that is going into the mod matrix. Let's create some modulation. We're going to route velocity to operator 1. Let's go into the pitch envelope settings. So pitch envelope part 0 Y, that's what we want. So it's not having any obvious effect because it's not having any obvious effect because the envelope is too short. Okay, so it's quite subtle, but it's making the initial attack just a bit dirtier. I take it off. Yeah, I'll just shorten that a little bit more. Okay. Just adding some milliseconds to the initial attack. Just to make it a little bit more organic, a bit less. Now, something that I do is I use, because you have two operators with feedback, for that reason I just tend to use 1 and 2 as kind of pairs, and quite often what I do is kind of mirror a stack with 1 in it with a stack with 2 in it and make some differences between them. So yeah, that's because 1 and 2 both have feedback. So if you're using 1 as a carrier and you want to get to a similar result, you'll need to use 2 as one of the other carriers. Although we're not using feedback so far. In fact, let's just experiment with that just to see if it adds anything. No, I don't want feedback on the sound. It's got more of an FM. Okay, so what you could do here is if I wanted to conserve operators, I could have the same operator modulating 1 and 2. So I think I'll do that like that. And that worked first time. It doesn't always work first time for me when I try and make that setup. Okay. So that's made it louder. Another great thing about this synth is how easy it is to copy and paste settings from one operator to another. So I'm going to copy all the settings from 1 into 2. Yep. And then what I want to do is copy this mod slot and change it so it's affecting operator 2. But it would be cool if it was going in the opposite direction, so the harder you play, that the initial attack of the 2 operators would be generating a pitch difference. That's quite interesting. Not sure why it's having that effect. It's kind of choking it or cutting it out. There's probably something to do with the way the negative modulation is applied. Anyway, I won't do that. Okay, so let's try varying operator 2. Change the multiplier. So immediately we've lost the square sound and we've gone for more of a sawtooth sound, because the ratio of 5 and 2 is 1 to 1 essentially. It's 2 to 2. So that might be a reason why I wouldn't use 5 to modulate 1 and 2 together. Let's it's quite tricky. Can't remember how I unassociate them, but with a bit of trial and error, I've managed it. So let's copy and paste the settings from 5 into 4. And what we'll do is, to maintain that 2:1 ratio, we'll have 4 at a multiplier of 4 and 2 at a multiplier of 2. Yeah, I just want to turn that down a bit. Probably want to turn the modulation down as well a bit. Okay, so I've ended up with a ratio of 4 to 3. I quite like that sound. So if I mute operator 2, you can hear the difference it makes. Maybe I'll increase the volume a bit. Okay, so we're getting a more complex sound now. So I feel like operator 2 is a bit overpowering. So what I sometimes do in this situation is just turn down the velocity sensitivity for operator 1 and this stack, and that automatically makes this stack louder. So I might just need to turn that down as well, actually. Okay, something I try is see if the filter can help. We've got a lot of harmonics coming through there. The way the filter works on the EssenceFM is slightly odd. It's it's more, it's something like an effect. You have a dry wet mix here. And then you have these parameters for resonance, which is, you know, quite normal, but then you've got a mixture between high pass and low pass. Okay. I'll have it halfway, I think. I'm just going to add some effects as well to the sound, because some of the other parts have reverb. I think it'll maybe a bit crushed as well. Okay, I can see I'm running out of time on this video, so I'm not going to, I'll probably just end it when it runs out of time, but hopefully that's been interesting, just to show my kind of thought process as I'm making a patch from scratch. I'll probably do a bit more work on this, try and get it to sit more with what's going on in the background. But if you made it this far, thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next video. Thanks very much. Goodbye.